I want to invite Brandston up. We have Diane and Nora to give a brief presentation and talk back, and I think it's going to be great.
All right. Hi guys. So thank you guys for coming to our little office. Say that a little tongue in cheek. I've been at Brandston now for almost 2 years. Prior to that, my main focus was actually in engineering. I did lighting for engineering, and I've been doing it now for, it'll be 20 years in October. So I started in the field very young. I was 19. Okay, so one of the things, there's actually 4 key points that, you know, throughout the 20 years I've been in this, that I've experienced, you know, problems with men, you know, and you know, sexism and other things like that. So one thing was right before I graduated. I was one of 3 women in my graduating class, and my professor pulled me aside and told me, he said, "I know you're really excited about graduating, and I think that's great." He said, "But I do have to talk to you, and it's about you being a woman in this field." And I was like, "Oh, okay," you know. And it was just like, you know, I was listening to him because I respected him. But he said, "Make sure you have a backup plan." And I said, "Well, what do you mean by that? Make sure you have a backup plan?" He said, "Every woman that's gone through this course has only lasted a maximum of 5 years in this field. And I've never met a woman that has lasted longer in this field. Make sure you have a backup plan, because you're not going to last longer than 5 years." And it was a great inspirational thing to tell me 2 weeks before graduation. It's like, okay, great, I just spent thousands of dollars getting this degree, but yet you're telling me I'm not going to last very long this year in this field. And I just, like, I was almost embarrassed, because I felt overwhelmed. And like, oh, well, then what did I get myself into? I felt sad, I felt hurt, because I thought I did great work. And he told me, he's like, "Has nothing to do with your work, you did great."
Where was it?
This was back in Pittsburgh. And
At an engineering company?
no, this was school. This was school. This is before I graduated. And at the same time, I was mad. I was mad as hell, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna last 10 years in this field, maybe even 20. So I thought about that a lot, and I just thought, I get it. You know, maybe he's just trying to be like a father figure of some sort, and was trying to be honest. And I was just like, I told him, I said, "I appreciate it. I'll do what I can, and I'll do my best, and we'll just go from there." And he told the rest of the young ladies that as well. And when I told some of my friends, my male friends, they're just like, "Whatever, you know, you'll get a job. Oh, we'll see what you'll do." And basically just told me to kind of blow it off. So that's what I did. I did get a job. I was actually making less in my full-time job than I did with my internship. But it was a fabulous company, and I wanted to get my foot in the door, and I was just like, I swallowed my pride, and I said, okay, I'll do it. So I worked there a couple years. And
Was it with an engineering firm?
it was with an AE firm.
An AE firm in
So,
Pittsburgh?
yeah. So eventually, but I was in the, I was unsure if I wanted to do architecture or if I wanted to do engineering. But I found that there was an opening in the electrical department, and I was just like, all right, that sounds like fun. I'll do it. So I was only making, this is ridiculous, but again, this was 20 years ago. My internship, I was making $9.25 an hour. My full-time job, I made $8 an hour. Okay. So I bit my tongue and I was just like, okay. A couple years later, I ended up getting transferred to another office, and they gave me a huge raise. And I said, thank you, I appreciate it. What I found out though was that they underpaid me severely, and that was a common practice for him to do. Because in his mind, he wasn't going to pay a woman what he would pay a man, because, especially a young woman, because in his mind, all they were going to do was get married, get pregnant, and quit. And then he was going to be lost with somebody. So, I was like, okay. I was engaged at the time, and I was just like, but I have no plans on quitting, you know, and we haven't even thought about having kids. So I went from making $8 an hour to what I would have been making was $12 an hour. So that's a pretty big difference. So I was angry about that, and I was just like, and I talked to some of my coworkers, which I didn't have a whole lot of female coworkers, so I didn't have really anybody to talk to. So it was sort of upsetting me. So I talked to one of my guy coworkers, and I said, look, this is the situation. How would you handle it? He said, there aren't a lot of women in this field. Unfortunately, this is my advice to you: put up and shut up. And I was just like, really? He says, yeah, fly under the radar and just learn what you can, and when the time comes, then just move on. And I was like, but that's your advice, is just to put up and shut up? He said, how many women do you see in here? Not a whole lot. And again, that was sort of hurtful, but you know, I just kind of was just like, okay. And the one woman, she was sort of overseeing a young engineer, and he was right out of college, and she had been there, I think, about 15 years. And I had gone to a conference. No, it wasn't a conference. I'm sorry. I had gone to a site visit. And she asked me, she said, how did you get to go to a site visit? I said, well, what do you mean? She says, I've never gone to a site visit. I was like, well, why not? She said, because they've always told me that they never send the women because they double up the men in rooms, in hotel rooms. And I said, really? So I asked some of the guys, I was like, so did you room with, I'm just gonna call him Ed. I was like, did you room with Ed when you went down there? And they're like, what? No, why would we do that? I was like, so you guys have your own rooms, you don't double up? And they're like, we've never done that. So I told her, I was like, they never double up. But her boss told her that was the reason why they didn't want to send her, was because they saved money in doing that. So it was an odd situation, and eventually she was overseeing this young engineer, and young people like to talk, so he made the mention to her about how much he made, and let's just say it was a lot more than what she was making, and she hit the roof then. And she told me, she said, I'm just going to let you know, she says, I'm talking to a lawyer about this because this isn't right. She said, so they may ask you questions. They never did. But she threatened them with litigation. And they basically said, no, we're not going to give it to you. No, we're not going to give it to you. Oh, you're hiring a lawyer. Oh, well, okay, maybe we'll talk. So they ended up settling, and she didn't get a raise. And she was eventually transferred to another office. But, you know, seeing these things in my early 20s really made me discouraged, because I didn't have anybody to talk to. There was nobody I could really talk to. When I talked to the men, they're just like, don't worry about it, you know, put up and shut up, you know. And I got really sick of hearing that from everyone. So along came this project that they were enforcing minorities. So I decided to turn the tables on them, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna see if I can get involved in this job. So I put together a spreadsheet. I was very, very nerdy about it. But they were looking for people to work on site. And I was like, this is for a year. This is going to be a great learning opportunity for me. So basically, I said that I really wanted to work on this. I was at a position in my life where I needed to learn more things, and being on site would be great. And my boss, him didn't talk about it. And he's like, well, I had in mind for these two guys, you know, they're brand new, and we thought this would be a good thing. I was like, yeah, but here it says they're looking for minorities, and it looks like me and the black guy are the only minorities. And I was like, you can either do that, or you're not going to have any minorities on there. So eventually he came to his senses. And he's like, all right, since you put such a compelling argument into wanting to do this, I'm going to let you go. So that's how I really got involved with lighting, because I ended up becoming a liaison between our engineering firm and the lighting design firm that was involved in this project. And the lead designer for the lighting team was amazing. And it meant no big deal for him to be on the phone with me for 3 hours just to explain things and talk things through. And it seemed like such a different world. And not only that, but it was also the fact that I was involved with contractors and getting to see the day-to-day activities and stuff like that. So what I had to use was my minority, me being a female, to get this position because of, you know, it was using public funds. And I used that for my advantage. And I said, okay, so this is what I'm going to do. And then I found out that a lot of me being a female on site wasn't a big deal to a lot of them. Yeah, there were some cat calls here and there, and that happens, and when a bunch of guys are all together, and you know, there was some other things. But some of the guys would call me, you know, sweetheart, for example. And that really didn't bother me too much. And I'll tell you why. It bothered me when they were my own age and they were calling me that, because it felt to me like it was derogatory. These guys were older, and they were tickled pink to see a young woman in the field. And these are like 50, 60-year-old. And it almost became like a term of endearment to me. So, you know, when I hear people getting all bent out of shape about being called certain things, it's like, yeah, but these guys, yeah, they called me sweetheart, but they respected me at the same time, because the one guy said, you know, my daughter's going through a similar program, and I see a lot of her in you, and I hope someday she's like you. So I was just like, oh, that's sort of nice. And at the same time, you know, I had their respect, and I was able to talk to them and ask questions and things like that. So that portion was a great learning experience for me. And unfortunately, I had to use other things by saying, well, I'm a female, you know. And things that I probably wouldn't have had to do if I was a male. I probably wouldn't have had to wait 7 years to go on site. You know, I probably would have been sent right away. So eventually, I did leave that firm, and the sexist boss eventually got what was coming to him, and he got fired. But that's another story. But the last thing that I experienced, it was actually quite a number of years later. It was actually a couple years ago, where I was at another engineering firm, and I was sort of doing my own thing in the lighting department. So I was kind of like on my own. And the one thing that I noticed is that their attitude towards me was starting to change after I got pregnant. And, you know, they didn't want to send me out in the field. We went to a site visit. It was only a couple months long. And I was telling my boss that I was pregnant, and he's like, "Oh, we can't send you out anymore." I was like, well, why not? I was like, "I'm fine. I take kickboxing, and I'm allowed to kickbox up until I'm 8 months pregnant. What's wrong with that?" He's like, "Oh, we can't afford you to get hurt, or we can't do this, or we can't do that, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "I appreciate the concern, really, I do, but I'll be fine." And it sort of was that, and they were just like, "Is everything okay? Are you doing all right?" You know, because I was the first woman that had gotten pregnant there. They didn't even have a maternity policy. They didn't even have anything in place. They had to, they asked me, he's like, "Well, what do you want?" I was like, "Ideally, I'd like to have 12 weeks paid leave." So let's start with that. I didn't get that. I got 8 weeks unpaid. In fact, they wanted to do 6 weeks, but I ended up having a C-section, so I was like, "Sorry."
I had to give you disability.
No, we didn't have disability. We didn't have disability. Yeah, Pennsylvania doesn't have the same thing, as New York. Yeah, so they basically said, "Well, we can take out a certain percentage out of your paycheck and we can set it aside." I was like, "I can do that too. Put it in my checking account, my savings account, and earn interest." So you know, so I was just like, "All right, whatever." So I actually ended up going back to work a little early after 4 weeks. And the reason because of that was it didn't have to do with work. It was because my daughter was born with a heart condition, so she was still in the hospital. And what the doctors had told me was, "Go ahead, go back to work. When she's released from the hospital, take the rest of your time." So I worked that out with them. I was like, "But I still have a C-section, so don't expect me to go running up and down the stairs." And they were like, "Okay, that's fine." But at the same time, because of my daughter's condition, they said that the best thing for you to do also is to make sure you pump. You know, breast milk is the best thing, blah, 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 blah. That's another thing. But what I did is that I told them, "Hey, you know, the office is empty. Can I use that room to pump?" Me expecting them to say, "Sure, it's empty. Who cares?" They had to have a week-long discussion amongst the men about my boobs. I wish I had that many guys that interested in my boobs, but yeah, it was very, and I was just like, so I'm typing up to HR. HR is like, "So, is it okay if I use the office?" And they're like, "Well, they're still discussing it." I was like, "What's to discuss?" Well, it might make some of the men a little uncomfortable.
They don't have to be there.
I know. I was like, "No, I'll put a sign on the door. I'll close it." Yeah, so it was funny because they had to have a discussion, a week-long discussion of the pros and cons for me to pump. And it was like, it's 20 minutes. It's like 2 times during, while I'm here. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. I was like, if it makes you feel any better, I won't take a lunch break, and they'll pay for it. And it was such a weird thing that, I didn't know that the guys would be that sensitive about it. I mean, they were all married. They all had wives. They all had kids. So why was it different? Why was it different for me? What made it so different? And one of my bosses saw me coming out of the room, but they eventually granted the room to me. So yay. But one of my bosses saw me coming out of the room and says, "Well, did you get the canoodle valves all cleaned out?" And I was just like, "Really?" I was like, "Should I ask you the same thing?" He didn't have a response to that. And he just was like, "All right, fair enough." I was like, "Yeah, fair enough." So, the way that I dealt with each one of these situations was a little different because I didn't have really a female mentor to kind of guide me through, which is what you know, this is so important, especially to the younger staffs, because you know, I'm not even really that old. So I look at some of the other people that have been through this back in the 70s and 80s and have really trailblazed everything. And then, you know, me being a fresh-eyed 19-year-old seeing, okay, these women have done this, you know, feminism, you know, we rock and everything. And it's still active today. And that like kind of hit me because I was thinking, especially when my teacher told me that, I was like, I thought we were past this. I thought, you know, burning the bras and, you know, kumbaya and everything, I thought that was all done. And no, it's not. You know, and having to play the game, you know, and almost having to do the same things and having to be sly. It's like, okay, so, you know, this is what I have to do. This is how things are, you know. And also understanding, you know, we have to trust in each other as well. And there's a lot of women that want to tear each other down as well. And it's not fair to anybody. You know, there's the meme that goes around. There's a special place in hell for women who don't support each other. You know, and that's true. You have to be able to support, because I would have killed to have a female mentor that I could just be like, well, how can I deal with this? You know, what should I do? And I kind of had to figure it out on my own, which is fine. But you know, I look back on some things, and you know, maybe I should have, when I took the job, I should have said, I should have negotiated. You know, should I have, or maybe I shouldn't have taken the job. Maybe I should have waited for something else that would have treated me better. Or, you know, finding out that maybe, you know, having the name on a resume isn't the best thing, but fulfilling your own satisfaction is more important than anything else. And, you know, and I was talking with one of our partners, Jung Soo, and she said that, you know, she had experienced a lot of different things, especially with her being a double minority because she's also from Korea. So people would not only be sexist towards her, but they would be racist as well. And she would say that she would have to pick and choose her battles. She wasn't going to win everything, but when she wanted to stand her ground for something, she knew that she had to do it. But she also knew that she had to have backup for it as well. So she found out what her limitations were and what her weaknesses were. And she tried to build on that and tried to understand that, you know, men and other people weren't going to view her the same way. And she wanted to make sure that, and this is something that she teaches her students as well, is you're not going to win everybody over, but you better win yourself over. And you have to know that those names and those other things that they're calling you is not who you are. You are who you are. And if you're better than that, then that's who you are. And if you don't change their mind, fine. But make sure that you know who you are. And there's a lot of good points to that, I think. And knowing that for myself, you know, I could have just said, all right, yeah, maybe I'll quit after 5 years, or maybe I will, you know, shack up with somebody and get knocked up and bounce a couple kids out. But you know, I didn't, because I knew that I was better than what he was saying. And although I appreciated it, it sort of like gave me a determination, like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. It may be hard and it may take me longer, and I may not make the same as some of my counterparts, but eventually I'll get there, and it'll be worth the effort after it. So, that being said, we can talk to Nora, who's
Wait,
some of our...
Diane, you had said, but there's two takeaways I hear, and I think this is really important, because So what's the takeaway, right? What's the deliverable? What have we learned here? So the learning is, you have to have a strategy. You have to define and put forward your best game. You didn't get all nerdy, you got all smart. And you defined how you're going to go and win this thing to your advantage. You mentioned playing politics. It happens every day, every place, whether you're going to Starbucks or going for a race. So it's not capitulation, it's developing strategy again. And those are great things that you did for yourself without mentoring, so good on you. You figured it out by yourself, exactly. Right, but don't have to bring a problem unless you can bring a solution with it.
Yeah.
And what's the end game? What do you want? Figure it out before you get to that idea or that discussion. Just like you go to any job meeting, you go with an end game in mind. So I think it's important to wrap it up and say, yeah, these are the things, lessons learned. And I don't know if anybody else has anything else to share or say.
There are
about
also, I thought it was interesting that you were saying, one of the things we talked about for a while, Kelly and Paulus, was the idea of mentoring, that you didn't have anybody to talk to. If you had someone to talk to, there are a whole list of things you mentioned that are actually legal issues.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and there are lots of organizations, you can go to now, you can call, you can find out what the legislation is about breastfeeding and pumping, and, all that stuff, especially now. I mean, when those of us who are a little older than you, as you said, in the 70s and 80s, there wasn't actually legislation, and there were very few women principals, and, maybe at that engineering firm, there were obviously no women principals.
Me. Well, I wasn't a principal, but I was the.
There's no bosses who wouldn't, right? So, but there are legal avenues. You don't have to just fight on your own to, for the most basic civil rights. I mean, there's, the EOS, there's NOW, there's lots of people that all of us can go to for that stuff. So, it's not, it doesn't have to be, there's places to get some help. I mean, I'm not trying to say it isn't hard, but it is hard.
Yeah.
That's another takeaway is, ask around. There are ways to, to not be taken advantage of. And the salary thing, earning the same as someone at your level who's not a woman, that's against the law. You can, hopefully you'll stay against the law.
Yeah.
For the rules, but,
It's a tough battle.
Yeah, it's a tough battle, right? But, I think,
security now.
yeah.
There aren't many women executives.
Right.
When I sat there, and the only reason I became an executive in Acuity is because I was an executive at Mark Lighting that was acquired, so I probably killed them. But, I had to go to their executive committees. And I remember sitting there in a room with 300 men. I was the only, Cheryl English, only 2 women in the room. It was strange, and I thought, this has to be illegal, no? How can no women like go up in the ranks here?
Well, if it's a private company, it is hard
But it was
to
really,
do anything, but,
I've been working in New York City for 30 years, 35 years. And I'm used to, women and men, and it was very odd to go to Atlanta and be the only 2 women in a room with 300 men.
I think that when I moved to New York, I noticed a huge difference. And I actually did some research. Like back in Pittsburgh, the 75 cents to the dollar, that was sort of true. And here it's 90 cents to the dollar. It's much closer.
Right.
But I also knew, and I mean, you mentioned about legal action and stuff like that, and everybody had told me, sue them, do this, do that. But the problem is that the woman that did go to litigation, she ended up getting transferred, and then eventually she got laid off.
Right.
And then nobody wanted to hire her.
Right.
She was tainted.
Yeah.
You get tainted.
yeah.
But
And
That's what they tell you to scare you. I mean, and I'm not necessarily saying that you have to sue people. I'm just saying know what your rights are, know what your legal
Right.
rights are. Litigation isn't always the answer either. But
Right.
and as you said, you don't necessarily want to work in an atmosphere. Not even so much that you're tainted, but
Right. That you went through litigation.
yeah, with a bunch of like
It's
50-year-old white guys who
Yeah.
are afraid to see you breastfeed.
Yeah.
Who really wants to work in that situation.
Right.
Right.
But I'm sure all of us, find ourselves often, even not so much in the lighting design field, but at meetings with, you know, if you're with architects, right? Often I'm, you know,
Oh, yeah?
and, you know, I'm a principal and I'm old and I'm still like the only woman in the room, you know, often.
Yeah, when you go to a
So-
kickoff meeting, you're sitting in a room with all these people.
Yeah, it's still-
Sitting there,
it's still
I'm still the
male-centric.
only woman in this room, I mean, come
It's
on,
still
guys.
male-centric business, you know,
Right,
but,
it's weird.
I mean, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're, at least know what's available, you know, what you
Yeah.
can do. you know.
Yeah, and
Don't just
it's
take it.
and it's just like I actually did the research on, you know, when you're allowed to have a breastfeeding room
Right.
and when you have to go get stuck in the bathroom, and even that law is sort of wonky
Yeah.
because you have to have more than 50 employees.
Right.
It has to be within that company, so you can't, or within that office, so you can't have like 20 people in one office and then
Right.
30 people in another office.
Do you have a different story?
Well, her story is a little different because, you know, she's a little young, but,
So I can. So I've only been working at BPI for like 8 months, and I don't really have a lot to say about how I felt working in the U.S. because I haven't had that. I haven't felt any of those ways.
Where are
In the
you from?
U.S. yet. I'm Dominican. Yeah, so from the Dominican Republic. So I haven't felt anything here, but I used to work in Doha in the Middle East. And so if you ever have like some international experiences, it took me a while to get adjusted to their culture because women don't really have a lot to say there. So it was hard, even though I worked with a lot of expats, and there were still a lot of people from that culture in the working environment. So I got a lot of looks, and I had to felt like always dressed very conservative, and even when I went to site, I didn't want to go alone. So my way of dealing with it, because I felt uncomfortable, obviously, I didn't want to go alone. So my way of dealing with it was mainly telling my boss. He was one was American and one was Australian, and they really defended me through it. But that was my way of handling feeling diminished, not really heard.
But dressing
So that's-
conservatively.
Yeah.
I think that any woman going into that country would respect their cultures, their traditions, to be effective and to get your job done. I don't think it's being dismissive of who you are as a person, but if you're going to a job site, you're not wearing Jimmy Choos and a skirt.
No, of
You know,
course.
so you're gonna dress for the job, for the occasion.
Yeah.
And if that's what it calls for in the Middle East or Podunk, Iowa,
Yeah.
I think that's okay. Am I wrong?
Maggie,
No, it's
you're 100% right, even here.
Yeah.
They won't allow you on a site with sandals. Even if you're wearing, no heel sandals, you're not going on a site with sandals.
Yeah.
I would never go on a site with a sundress on, I just wouldn't do that because it just wasn't what,
But it sounds like you had great bosses who supported you.
Who
right?
supported you.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think with her bosses, she went to her bosses and they understood the problem that she was being faced, and they helped her with that.
Right.
They're like, okay, well this is how you would handle that. And were your bosses male or female?
They were both men. Yeah.
So it seems like there's also a shift now. From when I was, if I was dealing with it, they would have just said, well, do what you can or just don't go on site. She at least was able to still go on site. She probably still had to have her bosses with her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they respected her enough to understand, you're still gonna learn. We
Right,
have this,
and
we
we're
have
gonna
this hump.
teach you, right.
Yeah.
You have this hump, but we're gonna
Right.
help you. And I think that's a really good shift, especially with being in the Middle East, and especially in the location for that. So it seems like, what we went through back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even the early 2000s, there seems to be a little bit of a shift now where, the men are supporting the women more. and they want to help, and they
I
want
think
to.
so.
It's case by
I
case.
so
encourage.
It is case by case, but I think so. I think it's more, relax and, I mean, I don't see, like, when I used to walk on a job site in the 80s, everybody thought I was the architect or the lighting designer. I was a lighting distributor. It's like, oh, you're the architect. Oh, you're the lighting designer. No. I supply the lights here, I was like, okay, so where are my effing lights? Then it became a thing, but I became friends with the contractors and, my mentor, as I've said before in previous meetings, was Frank Conti. But he used to come with me, and he was never sexist or anything. So he pushed me into learning and don't be afraid of these people. Be comfortable with them, and
They can smell fear.
they smell it. Yeah. Like just be, when somebody would say, this effing thing or this and that, and they go, excuse me, ma'am. I'm like, that's effing okay. Oh yeah, probably, because you had to be one of them, right? So I was like, okay. When I worked in distribution, there were all women who worked with me.
Yeah.
There was hardly any men.
But do you remember trying to cut the deals with the distributors when you would have all the information and the guy would have to come along to give all
But
the
I was the
information?
distributor.
Right, so Pat Burgoyne would have to come with me.
Yeah.
And sit down with the distributor, and he'd be like, well, Wendy, what are the numbers? Here you go. Well, what are the prices? Here you go.
Right.
Gave him all the information, but Pat had to be there because they wouldn't deal with a woman.
Right?
And this was every local
Right.
supply house, and this was in the 80s. And it was Rydia McMegan, you remember those?
Yeah.
But we're beyond that now, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Are we?
great, aren't we?
Let me, it's still there.
I think the
It's
design
still there.
offices also, it's a little more, as you said, they would think you were a designer.
Yeah,
You're
always.
a woman, but I think in the design offices, there's a subtler thing going on. And, before I had my own firm, I used to work for a very large firm, we'll go unnamed here. It became obvious to me, I was there for 10 years, it became obvious to me that most of the sort of interiors projects or the retail or the residential, I was a senior project manager and I was kind of getting those, and I was the only woman senior project manager, and the guys were getting the airports and the DOT jobs and the more like sort of
The big
rough
project.
trades.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if necessarily my bosses kind of realize it. I think it's sort of subtler. And I said at one point, not that I was really dying to do the airport jobs. I did say something like, sometime I'd like to try whatever. And they did. But, I think you have to kind of notice it and ask for it, because I do think it's still there. I think it's very much changed.
That doesn't really take sexism for anything, and I don't accept it. I don't like it. I don't accept it, and I refuse to have men happily submit to that kind of attitude. So I think I shocked.
Company did you work for?
I work for a lighting design firm there. So I was going to sites a lot, and yeah, I mean, I understand why you would be intimidated. I could see men staring at me, but I never gave in to letting them think that I feared them,
Right.
or that I was in any way intimidated by them looking at me that way. Or even when I went to meetings, knowing that their boss was there and stuff like that, I would always speak my mind. And it definitely sometimes didn't really kind of like, it shocked people, because of course you're not supposed to do that as a woman
Right.
there. But I think that they respected that as well, because in the end they always got an honest answer out of me. And I think that that's kind of like the way that you approach it in the workplace, is that
Right.
you can either let people do that to you, or you can stand up for yourself and say, I'm not accepting this.
And then they respect you, even though your knees are shaking.
Of course, afterwards.
I used to sit at the table, you could probably, like, they could hear my knees clanking together, right? Because I was so nervous, with all this group of men, I'd be like, excuse me. I used to like to say, all right, gentlemen, and I used to go, and lady.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then all all of a sudden you became, okay, part of the team. And then it wasn't so scary anymore, right?
I think that's part of a hazing though that goes on when you're a new kid on the block, right?
Yeah.
To some degree,
Yeah.
it's more extreme for women, is in some cases. But, you know, once you bond and you show them.
Right.
You're in.
You're in.
So, yeah. And I think also, playing the woman card, so what? It's a strategy, I'm gonna use it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what, I'm not going to be coy or demean my sex, but I am who I am, so, you know, I'm gonna work with it.
Right. Exactly.
And any other guy is gonna do the same thing, they're gonna find something, whether it's in the golf course thing or whatever, everybody's gonna find a way in.
Right.
I think it is important to know, I mean, I'd like to hear from some of the younger women who are working in firms around town, but I think it is important to get the information on what, you know, however you get it, on what other people are making, you know, what are the transparency is a powerful thing. Talking amongst yourselves about, what was your entry level, right, because I think there is still sexism.
That's a really good question. So Nanda, how would you phrase that question? If you're interviewing someone, or if I'm interviewing at a job for the first time, can I say what's the maximum I can expect? And how do we role play this?
You can't. I don't think you can ask an
Actually, you're able to find out more easily now
On the
when you're
internet,
that
yeah.
making.
I mean, you can go to glass ceiling.
Glass
store.
door.
There is a glass ceiling. Glass door.
You know,
You want to light with LEDs, right?
but I
And
think
that's
one.
partly what mentoring and being in a group like this is about, is looking at it less as a sort of competitive thing, and more as like, okay, we are all in this field, and there is power knowing about each other's jobs, and as opposed to us sort of competing for them, that's what networking is about. Within, since we're all within, basically the same trades, we're not going to necessarily be giving work to each other. I mean, we're just trying to help each other in the field. So,
I think another big thing is just asking. Ask for that raise, or when you interview, ask for the higher number. Don't think that, what I've gotten is good. I should accept it and be generous. Like, I remember a big striking thing is when asking, my mom versus my dad for advice. He's like, yeah, of course, ask for more. And also my sister, who's 6 years older. They said, ask for 10, and then maybe you'll get half of that. Whereas my mom was like, well, it's already kind of pretty good, so you should be happy with that. Don't feel greedy.
Don't be greedy.
But you know what? Fuck that.
women
balance of approaching the conversation with your boss, so that if you are being shortened in your pay or any other circumstance, how do you approach it without getting the sort of, you're just being ridiculous, like kind of brush off the shoulder, why are you complaining attitude and response? That's fear, but then you're just this needy girl who
Well,
is just
I think you have to
complaining.
it can't be complaining, it has to be,
Enforced.
I see this, and this, and,
You have to make sure you have information to back yourself up. And also do your research. Not only talk to people around you, but do research online. Look at Monster. Monster salaries, Glassdoor. See information for that particular field or even that company. People have posted before, like maybe the company is just lousy at paying. And then they'll post it on Glassdoor, and they'll be like, "Don't go here. They're horrible at paying people. Go somewhere else." And people love to complain about stuff like that. But listen to your peers and make sure that when you want to go in for that and you want to talk about it.
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, we as women, we're tending to be, and I'm not saying all, but we're tending to be like, okay, we're gonna go in trailblazing and And then when it actually happens, just like, well, maybe I'll just dial back a little bit, or maybe they're right.
Don't
maybe
dial
I'm
back.
Yeah. And it's hard for us to do that, because 9 times out of 10, you know, the man will go in and he'll be like, fuck this, I'm gonna do it, blah, 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 as you so eloquently said. And, but we have to adopt that attitude as well. You know, we don't have to be a bitch about it, but we need to make sure that we're smart about it. And maybe we have to be smarter in different ways other than men in order to get our point